right, guys. Hey, welcome to our Tuesday tips, tricks, and how-tos. This is going to be a hopefully regular thing, guys, that we're going to send out to y'all. Post this on YouTube each Tuesday. Just our TNCBA tips, tricks, and how-tos. And we're going to talk about some different things that really pertain to the time of season that we're in. And today, Kelsey's going to be talking to us about what he does, and I'll chime in a little bit. He's going to be talking to us about what he does to help with wintertime fishing from a standpoint of preparing clothing and the different things that you're going to take with you to make sure you can survive a day out here in this cold weather.
Yes.
Because we've all done it. We've gotten out there. We're not prepared. You don't have on the right clothing, and you're miserable. And when you do that, you're done from the get-go, and especially in a tournament situation. If you're not comfortable, or at least close to comfortable, I'm not going to say that we're sitting here just, like it's on a nice beach in the summer chilling, but you're going to feel a lot better than you do if you don't come prepared and you're freezing to death. So Kelsey's going to take it away. He's going to talk to us about what he likes to do, what he wears, and how he prepares for some cold weather, guys.
All right, guys. So just going into these winter months, what I want to talk about is just preparing your clothing and what you need to be comfortable out there and to be safe out there. One of the biggest things for me would be make sure you have a good rain suit. I mean, you can go with the 100-mile-an-hour suits or the guide wear from Cabela's or whatever. I've got a Hook rain suit. Just keeps that wind, the weather, the elements off of you. Personally, I prefer one without an inner layer, just because I like to layer myself up, whether I'm wearing a hoodie, long sleeve t-shirt, thermals underneath that. Just want to make sure that you stay warm, dry out there. I mean, we went out
that one time
a couple years ago. My rain suit failed, and I ended up getting pneumonia from it.
He was in bad shape.
So I mean, you want to make sure that that's keeping that core is one thing. Another thing is a lot of people either carry a helmet or one of those safe face. I just invested in a good set of goggles, especially in those morning runs. These actually have like a high-vis lens in them. So those low light situations, you want to be able to see what's going on, especially earlier in the year, like Douglas, Cherokee lakes where you got a lot of timber floating in the water. Sometimes. You want to be able to see really well.
And the other thing about the visibility, like with a helmet, I do like a helmet if it's super cold.
Yes.
But a helmet it hinders your ability to hear. It does take away some of that visibility that you have. So goggles are nice and not as restrictive.
And storage. That's another thing you got to keep in mind. These are easy. Just I keep them in my tackle bag year round, especially when it rains, whatever. It's just one of those things. Save your eyes, keep them protected, because you've got to be able to see when you're running down the lake.
Yeah. So then, where else do you go? What are the things you like?
Next thing would be gloves. So when I'm physically fishing, I'll normally have these on my hand. These are just a Fish Monkey wool gloves. They've got a good leather with some rubber grip on it. Definitely want to be able to maintain contact with your rod and be able to control it. One, but no fingers, so I can feel. Wool gloves are very important this time of year. It's cold. Even when they get wet, they still stay warm. They keep you warm. They retain your body heat. I mean, heck, the sheep use them. Why don't we? So, I mean,
if it works for them.
Oh, yeah.
So I agree. I agree. Some good pair of wool gloves. So so you got those with the fingers cut out. Got to be able to keep contact, especially a lot of times we're fishing the spinning rod this time of year.
Yes, sir.
You're dealing with the line. But then, when you go to run, do you change out gloves?
I do. I just I normally go like a size up on my gloves, and these are actually Burton Ski Gloves.
Yeah.
But I mean, they keep the wind off of you. These will keep your hands warm driving down the lake. That's another key thing, is because those gloves are worth nothing when you don't have them covered up going down the lake, because I mean that wind's gonna go through them.
Yeah.
You're gonna get your hands cold. I mean,
and that for me is like the death blow.
Yeah.
If my hands start to get cold, like I'm done, because they don't function and I can't tie knots.
And you think about it, you can't tie your knots, one, but I mean, you think about it this time of year, like we said, you normally got a spinning rod in your hand. You got a lot of finger control that you got to be able to maintain.
Right.
And another thing about these is they've got a leather palm. So that helps you grip in that steering wheel in rough water, whatever it be, just to make sure that you've got full control of your boat.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want to have your hands slipping off of there.
And also keep you warm. Another thing is keep you a good toboggan in there.
Yes.
I mean, this time of year, you might as well just leave this in the box.
Oh, yeah.
And just wear one of these, keep your head keep your head warm.
Now, the one thing I have found that I do like is like Columbia makes it where it's actually got a brim on the actual
Yes, they
toboggan.
do.
I do like those just for the simple fact of dealing with sunlight and sunny conditions, because that's the one thing I hate about a toboggan is the fact that I lose that little bit of shade, that little bit of cover that I have.
Oh yeah.
But again, guys, keeping your head warm, the full pull over the Under Armour has those like full face things just with the cutout here, and you can pull it up over your nose and stuff. That kind of stuff to keep your head warm, keep you from losing a lot of body heat is key. So what else you got for us? Chris?
I don't really have any with me, but if you wanted to,
yes.
wear the sweatbands around your wrist. Do hot hands on the inside of your hand or the inside of your arm where that blood's flowing through your hand.
Yep.
That's another key thing. I've known a lot of people to do that. I've done it in the past. Just warming that blood that's flowing into your hand. That's another thing to keep your functions and everything. You can do
I'll
that in your
usually
boots and
that, or put them in the gloves up on the top of your hand. But I'll have them there, hot hands in the gloves. But then I'll also put them in a pocket too.
Yes.
That way you can stick your whole hand in there to keep warm. But the other thing I like to do are the hot foot.
Yes.
And I'll take those, and what I like to do, guys, is I'll put on one pair of like normal socks, just a normal layer, not super thick. Put that hot foot on the bottom of that, and then put my wool or my warm socks over top of that, so it just creates that seal, and it's in that pocket there, and that usually keeps my toes really warm. But it does force me oftentimes to like have to go up a size in boots.
A little bit, but it's worth it.
It is worth it, guys. And you mentioned earlier the bulk, and I think that's one of the key with the layering up is trying to limit the bulk. I love getting a good. Under Armour makes some really great base layers. Columbia, and there's a lot of other companies that make some really good base layers, guys. But what those base layers allow you to do is it allows you to keep that mobility. Because when I get a lot of layers on, or I get too bulky, I get a lot of back pain.
Oh yeah.
And I get a lot of fatigue by the end of the day, or a lot of neck pain even too.
I get it in between my shoulders a lot of times. I mean, especially doing the techniques which we'd be doing this time of year. I mean, there's a lot of movement here, keeping that rod tip high and working it up, and that'll wear on your back. So keeping it to where you can cast, and you're not putting in so much effort to cast a lot of times, because that's what's going to create a lot of those pains and struggles.
So layers and warm layers that hold in heat. It's not about the bulk. Don't go find you the biggest hoodie or the biggest sweater that you can find, guys. These base layers that I'm talking about are super thin, but they hold heat in really good. So Kelsey, what else you got for us?
One last thing is your life jacket. Always, that's a key thing to keep in the boat anyways. I mean, you got to wear it all the time, but making sure that everything on the inside of this life jacket is ready to go. Make sure that you change out your cartridges. Like this one runs on CO2, so if you fall in the water, you need to make sure that thing's charged and charged up, and keep close eye on that, especially going into these winter months, because you know where you are dressed up and you're bulkier and wearing more clothes, it's harder to get mobility, and if you fall out of the boat, that is a very important thing to keep in there, and make sure that it's maintenance ready to go for the year, especially in these colder months, because that is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
And you never know whenever you fall.
Because you're not going to be able to swim with all these layers on, big heavy boots, guys. Like this is the most dangerous time to be out there, especially if you're by yourself. That life jacket, get you one of these self-inflating life jackets, or the ones that you pull a ripcord, but to have that on at all times, especially if you're fishing by yourself this time of year, is key. Because like Kelsey said, when you fall in that water, you have all this bulk on, you're not going to be able to swim, and you have very limited amount of time to get yourself back out of that water before hypothermia starts to set in.
Exactly.
So Kelsey, you got anything else for us, bud?
I believe that is everything I've got for this tip.
All right, well guys, as far as keeping warm in the wintertime, remember, layer up, get rid of as much bulk as you can, hand warmers and hot feet in the right places, good sets of gloves, one with fingers cut out so you can fish and feel that line and that rod and the sensitivity, but also a good set of gloves that you can drive around with, something to cover your head up, something to cover your face when you're running. All those things are important to keeping you comfortable on the water so that you can focus on fishing and not lose focus during the wintertime. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this TNCBA tips, tricks, and how-tos. We'll see you on the next one.
See you.